All right. The last piece of the puzzle, really, learning how to divide fractions. That's the last piece of the puzzle before we have all the tools on our tool belt, where then we have the ability to go and work algebra problems. So let's rock it. Let's learn how to divide decimals. Um, Before we do that, the challenge questions today, you're going to show me that you still are a rock star with division. You're going to show me that you remember how to multiply with decimals. You're going to show me that you remember how to add with fractions. And then you can try the challenge question if you choose. So today we are going to only look at how you divide half of the problems in division with decimals. Because you have two different options. So we know that normally it's the larger number. It's what you put inside of the house is called the dividend. What goes on the outside of the house is called the divisor, right? This is how much you have in the beginning, and this is what you're making groups of, or how many people you're splitting it between, however you look at it. That's the divisor. It's what you're counting by. And then your quotient is just the answer. Well, today, we're going to look at what happens when a decimal is in the dividend. And then tomorrow, we're going to look at what happens when the decimal is in the divisor. So when the decimal is in the dividend, then it's safe. It's safe. We're allowed to have decimals in the dividend. It's like you're inside your house, you're good. And all that means is it's very easy when the decimal's on the inside, because when you divide, you put the number that you're taking out right on top of it. So all you do with the decimal is you float it up and put it right where it is. But when that decimal is in the divisor, and that does happen, then all you have to do is panic. Ah! Ah! I'm just kidding. But we'll talk about what you do if the decimal's in the divisor tomorrow. But it's very different than if the decimal is in the dividend. When it's in here, it's very simple. You don't really have to change much. You just have to make sure that the decimal floats up. So we are on page 209, and I will help you with the odds now, and then the evens we will do during our live Zoom. And I'm not sure if we'll get through the whole thing. We'll see how we do on time. So we'll do the odds. How many 8s go into 47? Well, counting by 8s, you could take 5 out, because 8 times 5 is 40. So what's left over? 7. Now you get a decimal, but you cannot bring a decimal down. Instead, whenever you go to the decimal, just make sure you put it in your answer. See how the decimal is not in the divisor, it's only in the dividend? Now you bring down the 6. We know 10 times 8 is 80, so this must be 9. And 9 times 8, did I say 6? 9 times 8 is 72. What's left over? 4. Now bring down the 8. How many 8s go into 48? 6. What's left over? Nothing. It's very happy. So I'm just going to put a smiley face. Yay! We'll do this one during live. Okay. Pause. If you have the confidence, why don't you pause and try to get this answer and then unpause. Give yourself like 3 minutes. All right. First thing that 6 is going to go into is 30. How many times? 5 times. What's left over? 1. Take away your 30. There's 1 left over. Bring down the 6. How many 6s go into 16? 2. Not 3, because that'd be 18. When you take 2 groups out, there's still 4 left over, but you cannot take down the next number because there's a decimal. So all that you got to do is make sure the decimal floats up. Now you can bring down the next number. How many 6s are in 42? 7, right? 6 times 7 is 42, and there's nothing left over. So it's 52 and 7/10. Number 5, it says, Imelda has 8 and 169 thousandths meters of jump rope or rope. She just wants to cut it into 3 equal pieces for her 3 friends. How long would each one be? So we're going to take our 8.169. I'm thinking about abandoning this and just dividing on paper. Let's see. How many 3s are in 8? 2. What's left over? 2. Why? 3, 6. You took away 6 total. There's 2 left over. Your decimal already is going to float up because that was a decimal. It doesn't look like a decimal, but it is. And then how many 3s make 21? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 7. What's left over? Nothing. Nothing's left over. It's very happy because it went in perfect. Now the 6 comes down, 2. And now the 9 comes down. Nothing's left over because 2 got rid of the 6 totally. And then how many 3s are in 9? 3. So your answer is 2.73. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and switch my view. Try number 7 out. Now this one is going to take us a little bit longer because it's a double-digit divisor. But once again, we don't have to deal with decimals on the outside yet. So there's no reason to panic. We have 374 and 85 hundredths. So the 51 is going to go into the 374 first. Count by 50s, just to get a good guess. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 357. So I'm going to put a light 7 in case I'm wrong. And then somewhere I'm going to check my 51 times 7. 7 times 1 is 7. 5 times 7 is 35. Answer is 357. Is that too much? No. Perfect. 357. So 7 was right. It took away 357. What's left over? 17's left over. You can't bring down a decimal, so it floats up. Now you bring down the 8. My guess is 3. So I got to figure out what 51 times 3 is. Remember, however you like to multiplying here. It's a single digit, so it should not be too challenging. So that's 153. $25's left over. Bring down the 5. By the way, I'm going to mention a goat. A goat. I'm mentioning a goat. Like Tom Brady might be the greatest of all time, which people call a goat. So that's your answer in the Google Doc, is a goat. How many 51s are in here? Well, we know 7's too big. We know 3 is too small. I'm going to guess 5. I'm just going to guess 5. So I'm going to figure out what 51 times 5 is. Oh, check that out. It's exactly 255. So your answer is 7.35. 7.35. I'll skip this one. We're not going to be able to do all the evens in the live, but that's okay. Number 9. Number 9 is a little bit more disgusting because it's a 78 that you're going to count by. Gross. 78, 706, and 68 hundredths. So how many 78s are in 706? Yikes. I'm going to guess 9. So right here, I'm going to check my guess. Because 78 times 10 is 780. So we'll see if my guess is still too big. 72, 63, 2, 702. Perfect. So we took away 9. 702, 4. Bring down the next digit because you remember, decimal floats up. 0. Now this is where people get a little confused. I brought down the 6. I can't go in and take out groups of 78. So before I bring down my next number, I have to make sure I say, hey, nothing came out with just that. So now I could add a 6, or I'm sorry, an 8 to it. Now I have 468. My one guess was 9, which is too large. So I'm going to guess 6. And remember, there's ways to guess. Picture this being 80. How many 80s would it take to hit 400? And that would be between 5 and 6. So I'm guessing 6, and I'm thinking 6 is going to be great. And check that out. It's perf. So your answer is 906. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, right, Mr. Stoll. 9 in 600ths is your answer. 9.06. And you know what? I just made a decision. We're not going to do the evens when we get back together. We're going to do something totally different. Rock number 11. A rectangle has an area, so let me draw this beautiful rectangle for you, just because I know you guys love my drawing. I don't know why I made this so tiny the whole time. I'm sorry about that. 35.75, and one of the sides is 11. One of the sides is 11. We don't know the other side. Wah, wah, wah. Most of you guys should already know what to do. If you don't, then come up with an area that you are like, that's so easy, such as 30 and 10, and we don't know. What would we don't know be? Here, well, what times 10 is 30? 3. And the reason I always use these I don't knows is because it gives me the formula. So to figure out this I don't know, I took my answer, which is the inside. I divided it by the one length I do know, which is 10. I divided it by the length, and then I found my answer. So all I have to do is copy that formula here. So the answer, or the area, which is 35.75, divided by the other length that I know, which is 11. Now I got to figure it out. And I challenge you to pause it and figure it out. See if you're on track for this whole thing. How many 11s are in 35? 3 11s are in 35. And when you pull them out, you're taking away 33, because 11, 22, 33. There's 2 left over. Before you can bring anything else down, the decimal has to go in the right spot, right? Now you can bring down the 7, 11, 22. You cannot pull out 3. You can pull out 2. What's left over? 5 left over. Bring down the next digit. How many 11s are in 55? Well, 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. 5. Exactly. So 3.25. 3.25. We'll rock number 15. You know what? I will make your guys' video short. So try this one on your own, please. And then check it with me. That's how you're going to get better at this whole thing. 141 and 2/10 divided by 5. And I always like using 5 as the divisor because everyone can count by 5s. So we're making groups of 5. How many 5s are in 14? 2. What's left over? Well, 5, 10, we took away 2 of them. There was 4 left over. Bring down the next digit. How many 5s go into 41? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. We pulled out 8. What's left over? 1's left over. You have a decimal. The decimal floats up. Bring down the next digit. Now you're going into 12. I've had a lot of students in the past that every time you go into a number, you just circle it. So it's like your brain kind of erases everything else and you're only going into that number. How many 5s are in 12? 2. What's left over? Okay. Now, this is where things are going to change a little bit, and I'm going to talk to you about this during our live session. Things are going to change because we have a remainder, and we cannot put a fraction here because that fraction would be a fraction of a decimal. See how it's in the hundredths place? So let's pretend I did a fraction. I'd say 2/5 of 1/100th. That is so confusing because it's 2/5 left over of a whole, but it's not a whole, it's of 100. So there's a different trick that you're going to do. You're not going to do a decimal here, and you're not going to tell me a remainder. You're going to say, oh, hold on. I have 2 left, but I have more numbers. 141.2 is the same thing as 141 in 20/100. So I have infinite zeros I could pull down to get rid of my remainder. So I could pull down the 5. How many 5s are in 24? I'm done. Whoa, that's confusing, Mr. Stoll. Yeah, it won't be when we continue rocking it. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. And I am going to make you guys, a short document again, because it was really nice last time I made you guys that Google Doc, and I made the one question of which animal did I say in the video worth 10 points. So it was so easy to see the students that did not watch the video. So I'll rock that doc, and then at 10:30, we will work together, and we will completely understand the whole idea of bringing down a decimal. And we're also going to understand scientific notation with division. See you guys at 10:30.